So this is Baladonia Roadhouse on the Nullarbor. It's got a petrol station or diesel station, a motel, some toilets, and where we're staying, which is that little RV or caravan and camping park. The site's okay. It's got hot showers and toilets and things, and yeah, there's Snowy there, look, parked, ready to do our next leg between here and I think it's Echulla. Probably said that totally wrong, but you know how it is. And Ben's doing the first section to Cocklebiddy, and I'll be doing the second leg to Echulla or whatever. Baladonia Roadhouse. And that little bit of whatever metal or whatever on top of the actual motel, it signifies this area became famous because Skylab crashed here. So this section of the Nullarbor they actually use for emergency plane landings. So, you know, people like the Royal Flying Doctors will use this as an airstrip because of the remoteness. So yeah, just another fact for the Nullarbor.
Here we've just arrived at Eucla Caravan Park, and it has a motel alongside it. So we're just this side of the South Australian border.
Yep, and we filled up with diesel. We've had a coffee in a little cafe there, and yeah, it's got quite a few rooms, the motel and the hotel, although tonight apparently they're all fully booked up. It's actually got a bit of a sea view out the back.
And it's also got a lovely manicured garden that you can walk through at the back of the motel, as well as any guests, whether it's at the caravan park or motel. There's a swimming pool if you want to use the swimming pool, although it is a bit on the chilly side.
Not bad for
autumn,
and not bad for a hotel motel halfway along the Nullarbor plain. These are the motel units.
There's a travelling by car.
And we're just heading now to where Snowy's parked in the caravan bit. And Snowy's just parked here at the Eucla Caravan Park. I'll give you a quick cruise around. It's filling up quite nicely. We've just moved back into South Australia. Trundling across the Nullarbor, but at least here you get a view of the sea.
Just left the Nullarbor Roadhouse after having a bite of lunch, but this is the real Nullarbor for hundreds of kilometres. It is flat, shrubs, no trees, and just one long straight road ahead of us, and it's at both sides, and there's very little else, to be quite honest, but this is the true Nullarbor for you.
Hi everyone. Well, we're back in Melbourne. It's a lovely day today, but it has been cold the last few mornings. We've had a little bit of frost, haven't we? Lynn's been getting cold on the doing a morning dog walk. But yeah, we got home safely. We had a fantastic trip, didn't we, Lynn?
Oh, it was fabulous. It was well worth doing. I enjoyed the full 6 weeks. It was wonderful.
Yeah, and we had a nice time with the family, and yeah, all in all, it was a great trip.
Weather was fabulous. We couldn't have asked for better weather. All told, we maybe had half a day of drizzle in that 6 weeks. It really did make our holiday so much more enjoyable with the warm weather.
Anyway, to recap, so we started off, it was like a 4-leg trip, and the first leg was from home here in Melbourne across to Perth. Where did we stop on that leg, Lynn?
Initially we moved from here to Mildura, and then moved on to Port Pirie, and then Ceduna, Nullarbor Roadhouse, and Cocklebiddy, and Norseman, and last but not least, Kalgoorlie.
Yeah, so that was the big trip across the Nullarbor, which was, you know, it was exciting doing it, but it was a hell of a lot of driving, I've got to say. But yeah, we enjoyed it, stopping at the roadhouses.
We took 5 days to do it. I mean, some people do it in 3 days, but we took our time, and it was the first time we were doing it. And we thought, you know, as I say, it's very long and the roads are very straight. And
yeah, and then so we got over to Perth. We had a great couple of weeks holiday in Perth. You know, it's a great city. We really love it there.
Loved it.
And then the second leg, we sort of went down the southwest coast of WA. So yeah, we started off in Perth, and where did we stop, Lynn?
We moved on to a place called Busselton, and then on to Margaret River, Baranup, up in the forest where we were off grid. Couldn't think of my words then. And Augusta was the last but not least for that second leg.
Yeah, and that was great. We took him some great sights then. One particular highlight was, you know, seeing where the two oceans meet at the lighthouse. I thought that was amazing, you know, the Indian and the Southern Ocean.
I thoroughly enjoyed the Jarvis Estate. I thought it was very unique. Obviously, I enjoyed the wine tasting, and
yes, she did enjoy the wine tasting. But
to be on the vineyard itself, we didn't have far to walk back to our motorhome, and it was just unique in its own little way.
And then we moved on to leg 3, which was really the south coast of Western Australia. So we started off from Augusta, and where did we go on that leg?
And that included going round to a place called Walpole, and then on to Denmark, Albany, and we stopped at a place called Hammersley Inlet just for the one night, and then on to Esperance.
Yeah, and again, some fantastic scenery, and yeah, beautiful part of the world. On this vlog is leg 4, which was really, you know, the trek back across the Nullarbor, but we tried to mix it up a bit. We went to different roadhouses on the way back. So really from Esperance to home here, where did we stop, Lynn?
So we stopped at Balladonia, Eucla, which is very close to the border to Adelaide, Penong, and then on to Port Augusta. And then last but not least, to break the journey, we stopped at a place called Bordertown before coming on home.
Yeah, so and again, a long trip across the Nullarbor, which we enjoyed, but whether or not we'll do it again, yeah, that's another discussion altogether, because although we enjoyed it, it was arduous, the drive. And of course we shared it. We basically did half a day each on each of the, you know, the sections between the roadhouses.
You're sort of doing your drive most of the day, and then obviously having your evening meal and sleeping, and then to do the same again the next day. Yeah, I think it does give us an understanding of how big Australia actually is.
On the trip, what would you say was your favourites, Lynn? My favourite and your favourites, and you could only have one, because there were so many really fantastic places. They're all really good, but yeah, what would be your favourite place that you went to?
Out of all the places, and it is hard, but the one I would love to go back to, and I thoroughly enjoyed the day, was Cape Le Grand National Park, and that's where we went to see the lovely white sandy beach of the Le Grand Beach, and then we popped along to the Lucky Bay Beach, which usually has kangaroos on it, and then from there we went to a place called well, our favourite bay, there was another bay called Hellfire Bay, and that was very cosy.
And was that the one where you made me climb up a bloody mountain?
And then that also...
I should have brought my pickaxe and my bloody climbing ropes and everything.
And climb, it's a place called the Frenchman's Peak, and it's about 262 metres high. It was a bit blustery on the day we climbed, but it was quite arduous at times. But we got to the top in the end, that's the main thing.
We didn't get blown off the mountain, that was my main thing.
It took us about an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe, to go up and down.
Yeah, and for me, like I said, I did like that day where we went to see the caves, and then we went to I've already mentioned it, the lighthouse with the two oceans, and just around that area was really good. Plus the Margaret River wine tasting was good as well.
Hamlin Bay, seeing the stingrays. It is a beautiful corner of Australia.
I thought I said just one.
I know, but it's hard to choose one. There's so many nice places. It's hard to choose one.
Really good thing that we've noticed in our time in Western Australia is there's always good provision for caravans and motorhomes at a lot of the attractions. I mean, here at Elephant Rock and the Green Pools and where we've been, you can see there's 3 bays there for motorhomes and caravans. There's another lot further down there, and everywhere we go there seems to always be somewhere to park, which is great. Handling, because it's our longest trip we've done so far in the motorhome, we found there was 1 or 2 things that we really used a lot and we couldn't really do without, and so which is the one that you want to bring to our attention?
Well, I know it's only a little thing, but I am a tea drinker, and so on a morning when we'd have breakfast, because we were doing some long journeys across the Nullarbor, I would fill up the thermal flasks of tea, and seriously, we would put them in the front, and when you're doing long journeys, it just keeps them hot most of the day, so you don't have the hassle of having to boil the kettle, and it's just nice to have a little sip so they're not on the journey.
They're not really flasks, they're like thermal mugs.
They're like a mug.
They've got a handle,
but you can lock them,
and it really
keeps them. So
basically you have a cup of tea available for literally your whole journey, as long as you don't drink it.
And I know it's a little thing, but if you do it first thing in the morning and you put them in the front, and as you drive you can have that sip of tea whenever.
And I think for me, I wouldn't go much further than saying the little bikes that we've got, because obviously you get pitched up and you get settled on a site, and those little bikes, they have a good range, they're easy to store, and you can cycle into town, you can put your groceries on the little back rack, and
I know when we were in Perth, we did a lot of riding on the bikes, and it was great going around Kings Park.
But they're easy to pedal as well. So what we try to do is we try to not use as much of the sort of power on the way to a place. So we'll use it low, but then when you're tired, or if you're coming back, or you're going up hills, you just slip it up into the higher power ranges, and honestly, it assists you and makes it just gets you home
so much easier,
really easy. So I would say, those little bikes are a godsend, especially if you're not towing a car or or you haven't sort of other sort of form of transport. So yeah, that's what I'd say for mine, Lenny.
And between us, I think we have also appreciated the power bank, haven't we?
Not that we used it a lot because we were on powered sites, but it's good to know it's there. And
To back a serious backup
and
when you're off grid.
We did have a couple of off grids, but it's just good to know that I think we were 3 nights on the
on a trot.
Yeah, we did the 2 nights at the winery plus then the night
in the
forest. And the batteries sort of started to get down to about 70, 65, 70%. And although we didn't, need to use it, but it was just nice to know we could plug that in or we could use
charge your phones and all your
I would say
laptops and bits and pieces that you might have with you.
And no final leg wrap up would be complete without a little bit of the costs and statistics of the trip. So I've handed that one over to Lynn to do that. So come on, give us the details, Lynn.
Well, as I say, the costs are for the whole of the 6 weeks. And obviously that was our time with the family as well in Perth and tootling around. But the main cost of our trip was diesel. Diesel, all told, came to around 2,500 for diesel.
That sounds a lot, which it is a lot. But again, if you look how many kilometres did we do, Lenny?
Kilometres, we did, all told, we did 8,653 kilometres. And overall, like the average speed was 68 kilometres per hour. That's, usually we would put it in cruise control if we were on the Nullarbor, and we'd be going along at about anywhere between 90 and 95. But as I say, obviously when you hit towns like Perth, and then you obviously have to slow down, and it's more congested.
It's usually recommended.
It was nice trundling along and not having any traffic, but obviously, so overall it was 68 kilometres per hour. And as far as accommodation, we did go off-grid about 4 nights, all told, I think, out of the 6 weeks. But it ranged from costing us $8 up to about $35. But overall, the accommodation for over the 6 weeks, it cost $1,025.
So that figure includes all the going out as well?
No, that the accommodation was $1,025.
Yeah.
But it ranged from costing $8 a night. Up to about $35 per night. Obviously, the big fours are more expensive, but they accommodate more families and they have big playgrounds for children and stuff.
So it sounds a lot, but this is for a 6-week holiday, would we cross the Nullarbor again? Like I said before, maybe think about it twice because we got lots of other parts of Australia to
explore.
To explore, good word. And
yes, I have about a list of at least 12 trips.
Oh God,
as I say. So I think the Nullarbor is a means to an end, to get to the other side. But I'd certainly maybe fly next time to see your brother.
And could we do it cheaper? We probably could if we did more off-grid camping, because there is spots along the Nullarbor where it's free. You can just, rock up, pitch up and not pay anything. But we did sample a lot of the roadhouses, which can be a bit expensive. So all in all, that was some of the costs. And but again, for a 6-week holiday, which we thoroughly enjoyed, we're not too bent out of shape about the cost. It
just is what it is,
And for a wrap up.
As I say, I thoroughly enjoyed. But would you believe it? Just as we were coming out of Esperance, a little stone chipped the windscreen, unfortunately. But as I said, that's also, we've sorted that since coming home.
But again, all in all, great holiday,
And we've just only last week we are planning our trip away for next year, to go to Tasmania for 5 weeks in February. So we've just booked that on the Spirit of Tasmania.
we've got a couple of local trips around Victoria over the next few months, because it's starting to get cold now, but we will do at least a trip a month. So yeah, I think all in all,
Yeah, thoroughly, as I say, loved it. As I say, next time when we go to Perth, instead of going south, we'll no doubt go north up to Coral Bay and up to Broome and
All
up
right.
that way.
all right. So all in all,
It's never ending. There's too much to see. It's such a
too
vast
right.
continent.
Yeah, we actually that's a good point. We now realise how massive Australia is. And on that note,
We'll say cheerio for now.
bye for now.
Bye.
You make me feel so young. You make me feel like spring has sprung. And every time I see you grin, I'm such a happy individual. The moment that you speak, I wanna go play hide and seek. I wanna go and bounce the moon just like a toy balloon. You and I were just like a couple of tots running across the meadow, picking up lots of forget-me-nots. You make me feel so young. You make me feel the songs to be sung, bells to be rung, and a wonderful fling to be flung. And even now I'm old and grey, I'm gonna feel the way I do today, 'cause you make me feel so. You make me feel so. She makes me feel so young. Feel so